All right, let's get right into it. Google just launched something that could be a massive deal for developers, and it's trying to fix a problem that's, well, been around forever. Just imagine for a second if your entire codebase could document itself, generate its own diagrams, and even answer your questions like a senior engineer. Well, that's the promise of Code Wiki, a new tool powered by Gemini that might just change how we write software for good.
This right here, this is the whole philosophy behind Code Wiki. I mean, think about it. Instead of treating documentation like this terrible chore that's always out of date, what if it was just a living, breathing part of the code itself? This is the big idea, the revolutionary concept we're going to break down.
So, before we get to the shiny new solution, let's talk about the problem. And it's a problem that every single one of us in development, from junior devs to project managers, knows all too well. It's the documentation dilemma.
Let's be real, it's a huge pain. Nobody likes writing it, nobody ever wants to keep it updated, and yet it's absolutely critical for a healthy project, right? And this friction, this constant battle is where so many frustrations in development come from.
And all that frustration leads to some very familiar headaches. I mean, we've all seen it. That README file that hasn't been touched in 2 years. We've all gone on that treasure hunt for the one Confluence page that explains some critical system. And the biggest one, so much crucial knowledge gets trapped inside the heads of senior devs, which just makes bringing new people onto the team a super slow, painful process.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem. It's a big one. So now let's look at Google's answer. They're tackling this thing head-on with an AI platform designed to, hopefully, make all those frustrations just go away. So what is it really? At its heart, Code Wiki is an AI platform that you basically hook up to your code repository. It then goes in, scans everything, every single file, every function, and uses Gemini to create a full-on documentation wiki that stays perfectly in sync with your project. And this is probably the best way to think about it. Imagine having an expert on your team whose only job, 24/7, is to document every single change without ever getting tired or forgetting a detail or going on vacation. That's the kind of power we're talking about here.
All right, so that's the big promise, but how does it actually pull this off? Let's pop the hood and look at the core features to see how this whole thing works.
First up, and this is the absolute foundation of the whole system, is the automatic documentation generation. This is the engine that makes everything else possible. It's all about keeping your docs and your code in a perfect, unbreakable sync.
And the workflow is just beautifully simple. A developer pushes code to the repo, just like they do every day. CodeWiki sees that change, scans the new code, and boom! The relevant docs are instantly regenerated. No extra steps. The days of saying, oh yeah, sorry, that doc is 6 months out of date, well, they might be over.
But here's the really cool part. What it creates isn't just some boring, flat text file. No, CodeWiki builds a fully interactive system that's actually designed for you to explore and really understand the code base.
This is the perfect way to put it. It really does feel like Wikipedia, but for your code. You can start with a big, high-level overview, then click down into a specific module, then a class, then a function, all the way down to the exact line of code that makes it all work. For a new developer joining a team, this could cut onboarding time from weeks down to just a couple of days.
Okay, now we're getting to the real game changer. Built right into the documentation is a Gemini-powered chat agent that understands your entire code base.
You can literally just ask it questions in plain English. Instead of spending an hour digging through folders and files, you can just ask, hey, where do we handle the auth logic? Or show me the sequence for a user login. The agent can give you an answer instantly because it's using both the code and the documentation as its brain. I mean, just think of the hours that could save. And finally, there's a feature that solves one of the biggest documentation headaches of all, the diagrams. We all know how fast those things get outdated and become totally useless.
CodeWiki can automatically generate, and this is the important part, maintain all of these. You add a new service, the architecture diagram updates itself. You change how two functions talk to each other, the sequence diagram reflects that change. It keeps all your visuals just as fresh as your code.
So you put all these features together, what does it actually mean for you and your team in the real world? Let's talk about why this is more than just a neat new tool. It's really a fundamental shift in how we could work.
This slide just lays it out perfectly. On the one hand, you've got the old way. Docs are always out of date. The new way, they're always synced. In the old world, knowledge is lost when a key person leaves. Here, that knowledge is preserved forever in the system, and you go from slow, painful onboarding to near instant understanding. It's a huge difference.
And this isn't just for one type of team either. Fast-moving startups can stay organized without slowing down. Huge enterprise teams can finally get a handle on those complex legacy systems. And open-source projects, they can become way more welcoming to new contributors. Pretty much anyone who writes code stands to gain something here.
So, the big question. I know what you're thinking. This sounds amazing. How do I get it? Let's look at where it is now and what Google has planned.
And here's the great news. You can try this right now. It is in public preview, and it's totally free for any public repository on GitHub. You can just go to their site, paste in a GitHub URL, and it'll get to work generating the docs for you.
And for everyone thinking, well, that's great, but all my work is private, don't worry, support for that is on the way. Google's building a local command line tool that will let you generate and view all this documentation securely on your own machine. Your code never has to leave your network.
So there you have it, Google's Code Wiki, a tool that might just redefine how we understand and maintain our own software. And it leaves us with this one big question to think about. Is this the future? Should we be handing this task over to AI, or is there still some essential human touch that we risk losing? It's definitely something to think about. What do you think?